Did you know, my fellow sister-wise friends and fanatics, that Christine Brown has a book club? Excuse me, ma'ams. I just let Christine read to me for 30 minutes, and I'm about to grace you with the same. This lady has the most soothing voice. I'm like, I could listen to this and go to sleep. Like, it is so soothing and calming, and she's always got something positive to say, and her delivery is so good. I'm like, yes, ma'ams. Yes, ma'ams. Here you go. This, ladies, is how you inspire and motivate other women by simply living your truth, living through your struggles, showing how you've rised above the ashes or arose from the ashes, however you want to say it, and you ain't charging them for it. Because Christine is also out here posting motivational quotes and inspiring a lot of people for the free. Just go follow her on social media. Without further ado, let's get a hand clap. Let's get it together for Christine Brown and this book reading. Don't forget to thumbs up and share this video. Also, subscribe if you're new here. And don't forget to meet me in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Have you read this book? I believe it's The Alchemist. Let us know. Let's chit chat.
Hello, lovely people. We're going to go see, I don't know if I like this whole back and forth. We'll see. We're going to be reading The Alchemist. And we are on, hello, beautiful people. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Susan. Hello, Kate. Thank you, Kate. That's very sweet of you. Hello, beautiful people. Good evening. We are reading The Alchemist today. The Alchemist. So I'm super excited. So I read this book last week and we had such a lovely time reading it. It's been such a long time since I was live in my Facebook group. So can you guys hear this echo? It's really actually beginning to irritate me so badly, but we'll see. Anyway, we're reading The Alchemist. It is a lovely book by Paula something. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Coelho. I don't know. But we're reading this book today. So if you want to join in my Facebook group, I'll put a pin on a link. I'll put a link on my Instagram account, and then we can read it more in my I'll put a link in my Instagram account for my Facebook community, because that's where I'm doing the reading more than anything. So the echo is driving me a bit batty. So what I'm gonna do is, I feel like we need to log back in. We'll just see how it goes. Right now, maybe it's okay. Anyway, we're reading The Alchemist. Awesome book. I read it once before, forever ago, but I never finished it. And then lately, one of David's kids was telling me how much they love this book. And the reason I'm not talking to you all the time is because I'm also talking to Facebook, just, you know. And I was talking to one of David's kids, and he's like, we should read The Alchemist, and it's one of my favorite books and all of this. And so I thought, you don't hear an echo? Well, that's good, Kate. Hello, Nikki. Hi, Holly. So I don't know, I didn't finish it, but then I thought, you know what, I do want to finish it, and I want to read it again. Why don't we go ahead and read it in our group? So basically, that's why we're reading it in our group, because I think that this might be a fun idea to read. So we are on page 14. We've read kind of the introduction, which was amazing, and I figure that we should go ahead and read some more. So if it's not bothering anybody else, we might as well keep it going in both. The Alchemist, page 14. Is it easier? Nope. Glasses. I miss my eyes. I'm just saying. There was a vitamin I could take to help with eyes, besides, you know, vitamin A and things like that. The old woman led the boy to a room at the back of her house. It was separated from her living room by a curtain of colored beads. The room's furnishings consisted of a table, an image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and 2 chairs. The woman sat down and told him to be seated as well. Then she took both of his hands in hers and began quietly to pray. It sounded like a gypsy prayer. The boy had already had experience on the road with gypsies. They also traveled, but they had no flocks of sheep. People said that gypsies spent their lives tricking others. It was also said that they had a pact with the devil and that they kidnapped children and taking them away to their mysterious camps made them their slaves. As a child, the boy, whoa, I lost my glasses. As a child, the boy had always been frightened to death that he would be captured by gypsies. And this childhood fear returned when the old woman took his hands in hers. His heart must have been just racing and pounding so fast. And here he is just trying to get a reading and it's going crazy. But she had the Sacred Heart of Jesus there, he thought, trying to reassure himself. He didn't want his hand to begin trembling, showing the old woman that he was fearful. He recited an Our Father silently. Very interesting, said the old woman, never taking her eyes from the boy's hands. And then she fell silent. The boy was becoming nervous. His hands began to tremble, and the woman sensed it. He quickly pulled his hands away. I didn't come here to have you read my palm, he said, already regretting having come. He thought for a moment that it would be better to pay her fee and leave without learning a thing, that he was giving too much importance to his recurrent dream. You came so that you could learn about your dreams, said the old woman. Remember, that's why he is actually there, was because he was having these dreams and he was curious. And dreams are the language of God. When he speaks in our language, I can interpret what he has said. But if he speaks in the language of the soul, it is only you who can understand it. But whichever it is, I'm going to charge you for the consultation. Another trick, the boy thought. But he decided to take a chance. A shepherd always takes his chances with wolves and with drought. Oh, drought. It is the word drought. That O-U-G-H-T sometimes. And with the drought, that's what makes a shepherd's life exciting. I've had the same dream twice, he said. I dreamed that I was in a field with my sheep when a child appeared and began to play with the animals. I don't like people to do that because sheep are afraid of strangers. But children always seem to be able to play with them without frightening them. I don't know why. I don't know how animals know the age of human beings. Tell me more about your dream, said the woman. I have to get back to my cooking, and since you don't have much money, I can't give you a lot of time. The child went on playing with my sheep for quite a while, continued the boy, a bit upset. And suddenly, the child took me by both hands and transported me to the Egyptian pyramids. He paused for a moment to see if the woman knew what the Egyptian pyramids were, but she said nothing. Then, at the Egyptian pyramids, he said the last 3 words slowly so that the old woman would understand. The child said to me, if you come here, you will find a hidden treasure. And just as she was about to show me the exact location, I woke up both times. The woman was silent for a while, and then she again took his hands and studied them carefully. I'm not going to charge you anything now, she said, but I want 1/10 of the treasure if you find it. The boy laughed out of happiness. He was going to be able to save the little money he had because of a dream about hidden treasure. Well, interpret the dream, he said. First, swear to me. Swear that you will give me 1/10 of your treasure in exchange for what I'm going to tell you. The shepherd swore that he would. The old woman asked him to swear again while looking at the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It's a dream in the language of the world, she said. I can interpret it, but the interpretation is very difficult. That's why I feel that I deserve a part of what you find. And this is my interpretation. You must go to the pyramids in Egypt. I've never heard of them. But if I was a child who showed them to you, they exist. There you will find a treasure that will make you a rich man. The boy was surprised and then irritated. He didn't need to seek out the old woman for this. Then he remembered that he wasn't going to have to pay anything. I didn't need to waste my time just for this, he said. I told you that your dream was a difficult one. It's the simple things in life that are most extraordinary. What? Already I'm thinking of so many things that are absolutely amazing in this. So let me get my pen because I feel like I want to write in this. Where is my pen? I don't know. Let me find a pen. I thought I had a highlighter, but when I was reorganizing everything, I could not find it. We're going to use, really? No. I do have a highlighter. It's orange. Orange is my favorite color today, so that is great. So we're going to highlight that. I think that's amazing. So the simple things in life are the most extraordinary. Only wise men are able to understand them. And since I am not wise, I have had to learn from other arts, such as the reading of poems. How am I going to get to Egypt? Well, I only interpret dreams. I don't know how to turn them into reality. That's why I have to live off what my daughters provide me with. I love that part. I love how honest she is. And the woman, then, what if I never get to Egypt? Then I don't get paid, and it wouldn't be the first time. And the woman told the boy to leave, saying she had already wasted too much time with him. So many things in this are amazing to me. That there's the first couple of pages in here, and I love that she's charging him, and she knows he doesn't have a lot of money, so she's asking for interest. She's asking for, like, oh, I lost my thing behind it. Jeremy Zahora, hi, love. So I find it amazing that she's asking for payment, even though she knows he doesn't have a lot. Whoa, okay, end it, stop. Wow, I don't know what happened there. Am I back? Sorry. I think it's trying to turn me around. It is. Hi, loves. Sorry about that. I am using a makeshift holder, and it canceled out on me, because otherwise the angle's stupid. Oh, well, here we go. So the angle's going to be dumb, sorry. I love that she's charging, by the way. I just love that she's charging. I fully believe, I always teach my kids that if they're going to do anything, they need to pay for it themselves, because then they find value. You know, you always have to make them find value in things. And so I love that she makes him pay, even though she knows he doesn't have anything. So anyway, that's my thought for that. And then we're going to continue as soon as I get this set up. Hold on. Nope, that doesn't work. Dang it, this is so lame. Maybe I can use this. Haha! Okay, so let's keep reading. So page 16 now. That's kind of okay. Not too bad. That's fine. Alrighty. There you go. Everything's crazy in the world. Okay, so here we go. The boy was disappointed. He decided he would never again believe in dreams. He remembered that he had a number of things to take care of. He went to the market for something to eat. He traded his book for one that was thicker, and he found a bench in the plaza where he could sample the new wine that he had bought. The day was hot, and the wine was refreshing. The sheep were at the gates of the city in a stable that belonged to a friend. The boy knew a lot of people in the city. That's what made traveling appeal to him. He always made new friends, and he didn't need to spend all his time with them. When someone sees the same people every day, as it had happened with him at the seminary, they wind up becoming a part of that person's life. And then they want the person to change. If someone isn't what others want them to be, the others get angry. Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should live their lives, but none about his or her own. I just want you guys to reread that paragraph on your own, because there's a lot of amazing words of wisdom in here. We got to get you a phone. I have one, Janice. I definitely have an iPhone holder, but I just, I don't know where anything is. I have one. This is on my tablet. So this is my tablet. See, wouldn't that be better? I know. Oh, no, stop it. Gosh, it's just trying so hard to be dumb. Hold on. There, that's better. Okay, let me fix it again. So let me put this here and see if this helps. I'm using, it's just the same. Let's just move on. Okay. So he decided to wait until the sun had sunk a bit lower in the sky before following his flock back through the fields. 3 days from now, he would be with the merchant's daughter. Remember, that's like his vision, is to be with the merchant's daughter, and he's hoping that she's not with anybody else. But we don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens. He started to read the book that he had bought. On the very first page, it described a burial ceremony, and the names of the people involved were very difficult to pronounce. If he ever wrote a book, he thought, he would present one person at a time so that the reader wouldn't have to worry about memorizing a lot of names. When he was finally able to concentrate on what he was reading, he liked the book better. The burial was on a snowy day, and he welcomed the feelings of being cold. As he read on, an old man sat down at his side and tried to strike up a conversation. "What are they doing?" the old man asked, pointing to the people in the plaza. "Working," the boy said dryly, making it look as if he wanted to concentrate on his reading. Actually, he was thinking about shearing his sheep in front of the merchant's daughter, so that she could see that if he was someone capable of doing difficult things, He had already imagined the scene many times. Every time the girl became fascinated when he explained that the sheep had to be sheared from back to front. He also tried to remember some good stories to relate as he sheared the sheep. Most of them he had read in books, but he would tell them as if they were from his personal experience. She would never know the difference because she didn't know how to read. We're reading The Alchemist, Anita. Meanwhile, the old man persisted in his attempt to strike up a conversation. He said that he was tired and thirsty and asked if he might have a sip of the boy's wine. The boy offered his bottle, hoping that the old man would leave him alone. But the old man wanted to talk, and he asked the boy what book he was reading. The boy was tempted to be rude and moved to another bench, but his father had taught him to be respectful of the elderly, so he held out the book to the man for 2 reasons. First, that he himself wasn't sure how to pronounce the title, and second, that if the old man didn't know how to read, he probably would feel ashamed and decide of his own accord to change benches. Said the old man, looking at the sides of the book as if it was a strange object. This is an important book, but very irritating. The boy was shocked. The old man knew how to read, and he'd already read... Okay, this is just absolutely obnoxious. And he'd already read the book. I'm going to try that. That might be... If it falls, I'm sorry. We'll try it again. The boy was shocked. The old man knew how to read or read the book. If the book was irritating, as the old man said, the boy still had time to change it for another. It's a book that says the same thing. Almost all the other books say, continued the old man. It describes people's inability to choose their own personal legends. And personal legends is capitalized. I think that might be something we need to remember. I hesitate to move anything out of fear of everything moving. But I feel like this personal legends, where did I put the highlight? There it is, it's fine. Everything's fine. Personal legends is capitalized. So I feel like it's going to mention it somewhere else in the book. So let's remember that. It ends up saying that everyone believes the world's greatest lie. What's the world's greatest lie? The boy asked, completely surprised. It's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us, and our lives become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie. That's never happened to me, the boy said. They wanted me to be a priest, so I decided to become a shepherd. Much better, said the old man, because you really like to travel. He knew what I was thinking, the boy said to himself. The old man, meanwhile, was leafing through the book without seeming to want to return it at all. The boy noticed that the man's clothing was strange. He looked like an Arab, which was not unusual in these parts. Africa was only a few hours from Tarifa. One had only to cross the narrow straits by boat. Arabs often appeared in the city, shopping and chanting their strange prayers several times a day. Where are you from? The boy asked. From many places. No one can be from many places, the boy said. I'm a shepherd and I've been to many places, but I come from only one place, from a city near an ancient castle. That's where I was born. Well then, you could say I was born in Salem. The boy didn't know where Salem was, but he didn't want to ask, fearing that he might appear ignorant. He looked at the people in the plaza for a while. They were coming and going, and all of them seemed to be very busy. So what is Salem like? He asked, trying to get some sort of clue. It's like it always has been. No clue yet, but he knew that Salem wasn't in Andalusia. I don't know. If it were, he would have already heard of it. And what do you do in Salem? He insisted. What do I do in Salem? The old man laughed. Well, I'm the king of Salem. People say strange things, the boy thought. Sometimes it's better to be with the sheep, who don't say anything, and better still to be alone with one's books. They tell their incredible stories at the time when you want to hear them. But when you're talking to people, they say some strange things that are so strange that you don't know how to communicate the conversation. My name is Melchizedek, said the old man. How many sheep do you have? Enough, said the boy. He could see that the old man wanted to know more about his life. Well, then we've got a problem. I can't help you if you feel you've got enough sheep. The boy was getting irritated. He wasn't asking for help. It was the old man who asked for a drink of his wine and had started the conversation. Give me my book, the boy said. I have to go and gather my sheep and get going. Give me 1/10 of your sheep, said the old man, and I'll tell you how to find the hidden treasure. The boy remembered his dream, and suddenly everything was clear to him. The old woman hadn't charged him anything, but the old man Maybe he was her husband, was going to try and find a way to get much more money in exchange for information about something that didn't even exist. The old man was probably a gypsy too. But before the boy could say anything, the old man leaned over, picked up a stick, and began to write in the sand of the plaza. Something bright reflected from his chest with such intensity that the boy was momentarily blinded. With a movement that was too quick for someone his age, the man covered what it was that was in his cape. When his vision returned to normal, the boy was able to read what the old man had written in the sand. There in the sand of the plaza of that small city, the boy read the names of his father and his mother and the name of the seminary he had attended. He read the name of the merchant's daughter, which he hadn't even known, and he read things he had never told anyone. "I'm the king of Salem," the old man had said. "Why would a king be talking with a shepherd?" the boy asked, awed and embarrassed. "For several reasons, but let's just say the most important is that you have succeeded in discovering your personal legend." The boy didn't know what a personal legend was. It's what you've always wanted to accomplish. Everyone, when they're young, knows what their personal legend is. At that point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They're not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything they would like to see happen to them in their lives. But as time passes, a mysterious force begins to convince them that it will be impossible for them to realize their personal legend. None of what the old man was saying made much sense to the boy, but he wanted to know what the mysterious force was. The merchant's daughter would be impressed when he told her about that. It's a force that appears to be negative, but actually shows you how to realize your personal legend. It prepares your spirit and your will, because there's one great truth on this planet. Whoever you are, or whatever it is that you do, when you really want something, it's because that desire originated in the soul of the universe, and it's your mission on Earth. Whoa! Let's see, your personal legend. There is one great truth on this planet. Whoever you are, or whatever it is that you do, when you really want something, is because that desire originated in the soul of the universe. It's your mission on Earth. I like that. Even when all you want to do is travel, or marry the daughter of a textile merchant, yes, or even search for treasure. The soul of the world is nourished by people's happiness, and also by unhappiness, envy, and jealousy. To realize one's personal legend is a person's only real obligation. All things are one. And when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. That's my favorite. Remember from last week? I don't like that whole Murphy's Law and things like that. Well, when people are like, well, that's just what happens to me, or, they're negative about things, and of course that would happen to me, that kind of a thing, I don't like that. So all the universe, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. I love that. They were all silent for a time, observing the plaza and the townspeople. It was the old man who spoke first. "Why do you tend a flock of sheep?" "Because I like to travel." The old man pointed to a baker standing in his shop window at one corner of the plaza. When he was a child, that man wanted to travel too, but he decided first to buy his bakery and put some money aside. When he's an old man, he's going to spend a month in Africa. He never realized that people are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of. "He should have decided to become a shepherd," the boy said. "Well, I thought about that," the old man said, "but bakers are more important people than shepherds. Bakers have homes, while shepherds sleep out in the open. Parents would rather see their children marry bakers than shepherds." The boy felt a pang in his heart, thinking about the merchant's daughter. There was surely a baker in town. The old man continued, "In the long run, what people think about shepherds and bakers becomes more important for them than to have their own personal legends." The old man leafed through the book and fell to reading a page he came to. The boy waited, then interrupted the old man just as he himself had been interrupted. "Why are you telling me all of this?" "Because you're trying to realize your personal legend, and you are at the point where you're about to give it all up." "And that's when you always appear on the scene?" "Not always in this way, but I always appear in one form or another. Sometimes I appear in the form of a solution or a good idea. At other times, at a crucial moment, I make it easier for things to happen. There are other things that I do too, but most of the time people don't realize I've done them. The old man related that the week before he had been forced to appear before a miner and had taken the form of a stone. The miner had abandoned everything to go mining for emeralds. For 5 years he had been working on a certain river and examined hundreds of thousands of stones looking for an emerald. The miner was about to give it all up, right at the point when, if he were to examine just one more stone, just one more, he would find his emerald. Since the miner had sacrificed everything to his personal legend, the old man had decided to become involved. He transformed himself into a stone that rolled up onto the miner's foot. The miner, with all of his anger and frustration of his 5 fruitless years, picked up the stone and threw it aside. He had thrown it with such force that it broke the stone. It fell upon, and there, embedded in the broken stone, was the most beautiful emerald in the world. People learn early in their lives. What is their reason for being, said the old man with a certain bitterness. Maybe that's why they give up on it so early. But that's just the way it is. The boy reminded the old man that he had said something about hidden treasure. Treasure is uncovered by the force of flowing water, and it's buried by the same current, said the old man. If you want to learn about your own treasure, you will have to give me 1/10 of your flock. What about 1/10 of my treasure? The old man looked disappointed. If you start out by promising what you don't even have yet, you'll lose your desire to work towards getting it. The boy told him he had already promised to give 1/10 of his treasure to the gypsy. Gypsies are experts at getting people to do that, sighed the old man. In any case, it's good that you've learned that everything in life has a price. This is what the warriors of the light try to teach. The old man returned the book to the boy. Tomorrow at the same time, bring me 1/10 of your flock, and I will tell you how to find the hidden treasure. Good afternoon. And he vanished around the corner of the plaza. The boy began to read his book, but he was no longer able to concentrate. He was tense and upset because he knew that the old man was right. He went over to the bakery and bought a loaf of bread, thinking about whether or not he should tell the baker what the old man had said about him. Sometimes it's better to leave things as they are, he thought to himself, and decided to say nothing. If he were to say anything, the baker would spend 3 days thinking about giving it all up, even though he'd gotten used to the way things were. The boy could certainly resist causing that kind of anxiety for the baker, so he began to wander through the city and found himself at the gates. There was a small building there with a window at which people bought tickets to Africa, and he knew Egypt was in Africa. Can I help you? Asked the man behind the window. Maybe tomorrow, said the boy, moving away. If he sold just one of his sheep, he'd have enough to get to the other shore of the strait, and the idea frightened him. Another dreamer, said the ticket seller to his assistant, watching the boy walk away. He doesn't have enough money to travel. While standing at the ticket window, the boy had remembered his flock and decided he should go back to being a shepherd. In 2 years, he had learned everything about shepherding. He knew how to shear sheep, knew how to care for pregnant ewes, knew how to protect the sheep from wolves. He knew all the fields and pastures of Andalusia, and he knew what was the fair price for every one of his animals. He decided to return to his friend's stable by the longest route possible. As he walked past the city's castle, he interrupted his return and climbed the stone ramp that led to the top of the wall. From there he could see Africa in the distance. Someone had once told him that it was from there that the Moors had come to occupy all of Spain. He could see almost the entire city from where he sat, including the plaza where he had talked with the old man. Curse the moment I met that old man, he thought. He'd come to town only to find a woman who could interpret his dream. Neither the woman nor the old man was at all impressed by the fact that he was a shepherd. They were solitary individuals who no longer believed in things and didn't understand that shepherds become attached to their sheep. He knew everything about each member of his flock. He knew which ones were lame, which one was about to give birth 2 months from now, and which were the laziest. He knew how to shear them and how to slaughter them. And he ever decided to leave them, they would suffer. The wind began to pick up. He knew that wind. People called it Levanter. I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure. Because on the moors, he had come from the Levant and the eastern end of the Mediterranean. The Levanter increased in intensity. Here I am, between my flock and my treasure, the boy thought. He had to choose between something he'd become accustomed to and something he wanted to have. There was also the merchant's daughter, but she wasn't as important as his flock, because she didn't depend on him. Maybe she didn't even remember him. He was so sure that it made no difference to her on which day he appeared. For her, every day was the same. And when each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. That paragraph is simply beautiful. Simply beautiful. It's on page 30, and I am going to reread that paragraph and really think about that, because I love that he's just realizing, I'm between my flock and my treasure. He had to choose between something that he'd become accustomed to and something he wanted to have. And just on a personal note, I remember when I was leaving Cody and knew I had to leave, and I was so worried and afraid, and I didn't know what I should do next, and I didn't know how to get to what I wanted, which was to live in Utah again and to leave Cody, and I didn't know how to do it, but I knew that was the breaking point, and that was the moment that I needed to realize what I needed to do next. I remember pondering this exact thing. It's interesting. There's the merchant's daughter. Maybe she wasn't important. She wasn't as important as his flock because she didn't depend on him. I'm so obsessed with this paragraph, page 30. I think that we all need to think about this paragraph for a while. I become super verklempt at this whole thing, just thinking about life and the future and what's next. And I think this is an important paragraph. And then people that do the same thing every day, people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. God, we need to think about this one. But we're going to move on for right now. I left my father and my mother in the town. We're reading The Alchemist, if you want to know. We're going to read it for a little bit longer because I want to get I don't know. Yeah, there's a little thing right there. We're going to read it a little bit longer. So I left my father and my mother and the town castle behind. They've gotten used to my being away, and so have I. The sheep will get used to my not being there too, the boy thought. From where he sat, he could observe the plaza. People continued to come and go from the baker's shop. A young couple sat on the bench where he had talked with the old man, and they kissed. That baker, he thought to himself without completing the thought. The levanter was still getting stronger, and he felt the force on his face. That wind had brought the moors, yes, but it had also brought the smell of the desert and the veiled women. It had brought with it the sweat and the dreams of men who had once left to search for the unknown and for gold and adventure and for the pyramids. The boy felt jealous of the freedom of the wind and saw that he could have the same freedom. There was nothing to hold him back except himself. The sheep, the merchant's daughter, and the fields of Andalusia were only steps along the way to his personal legend. The next day, the boy met with the old man at noon. He brought 6 sheep with him, and that's where we're stopping. So he decides to go ahead and go for his personal legend, and he makes that decision. And I think he's realizing so many things, but he realizes that his personal legend is so much more important than anything else in him moving forward. So we're now on page 31, and we're going to stop here. And no, don't stop. I have things I have to do. So we will continue reading probably next week, but if I can't wait till longer, I'll let you know. But I'm not going to read it either, but except for I'm going to go back and I'm going to think about that page 30. Why don't we all think about page 30? Like in my Facebook group, I'll put a link to my Facebook group on my page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go live in my page to talk about page 30 and this paragraph here. So everyone, let's think about page 30 and this paragraph. There's several different things that I think we can glean from it. And then anything else that has come to your mind, and we'll discuss it in a couple of days. So get to page 30 if you want to start from the beginning, or page 31. We're right at the point where the next day the boy met the old man at noon, and he had brought 6 sheep with him. So let's get to that part. Let's go ahead and discuss it in my group. Let's get together. I don't know when works for everybody. I'm thinking let's give us Sunday morning maybe, and we can discuss, or Sunday evening, Sunday morning, evening. Let's decide, and then let's discuss this a little bit and think about this, because I think there's some great wisdom to be had about many things in this book. Anyway, The Alchemist, thank you for coming along. Thank you for coming along. I appreciate it.